Each September, as summer fades, preparation begins for New Jersey's 6-day bear season. 3 days of archery, followed by 3 with bow or muzzleloader in hand. My approach doesn't start with bait. It starts with scouting, reading sign, tracking mass crops, and anticipating how bears will shift their feeding patterns as fall takes hold. By mid-October, bears are in hyperphagia, driven by instinct and physiology to consume every possible calorie before entering torpor, that slowed winter's state of survival. Efficiency rules their world. They feed where thick cover, energy, and safety overlap. That's why understanding natural food is everything. You can never outbait natural food sources, and that's where most hunters go wrong. Bait should complement what's already drawing bears, not compete with it. I build my bait sites around key fall foods: late maturing corn still in the milk stage, soft mass like apples, or productive hard mass trees dropping acorns, hickory, and beech nuts. The trick is anticipating when those shifts will happen, so your baits are in the right place when bears make that seasonal transition. When you time it right, bears stay consistent, and your sites never go cold. Over the week, we saw 17 different bears and harvested 3, including my buddy's first. Each encounter reaffirmed that the best results come from blending biology with woodsmanship, knowing not just where bears will be, but why they are there.
First evening of the 2025 bear season. We didn't hunt this morning. It was raining pretty heavily. It wasn't so much the fact of getting wet or hunting in the rain. It's just that bears can be pretty difficult to blood trail. You know, they've got especially this time of year, they've got a significant amount of fat on them. And so oftentimes that layer of fat can kind of plug your hole. And then also this time of year, you know, the hair on your coat is real long and real thick. So that hair basically that hair acts like a giant sponge. So any blood that comes out will get soaked up by the hair before it hits the ground. So on top of that, you know, with the rain this morning, it just wasn't worth risking hitting one and not being able to find it. So we elected not to hunt this evening. Basically, I'm set up overlooking this big swamp. There's a travel corridor that comes out of it, real thick area that connects another swamp. So these bears like to travel in between the two. I've got the bait. My bait site is about 125, 150 yards behind me in that travel corridor. So my hopes is to try and get something coming out of this swamp, either coming up the edge of this swamp into this travel corridor, or coming up along the edge of this little thicker travel corridor here. New Jersey's got some weird regulations regarding bait. You can bait all year long and bait while you're hunting. You're just not allowed to hunt within 100 yards of the bait. So when I'm looking for spots to set up, that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm looking for some sort of either a feeder stream or an outlet stream that either comes into a big swamp or goes out of a swamp, because those stream beds tend to be a lot thicker than the woods around it, and so those bears like to travel, stick in that thick cover when they travel. So I got the bait about 150 yards from the swamp here. And I hope that these bears will travel this edge. going to the bait site. The bait site's been pretty active. Got quite a few different bears on there, and a couple of pretty good ones. Also have a real big 10-pointer coming to the bait. He's been visiting it pretty frequently. Actually, when I was coming in to set up, I bumped a pretty good buck. But he was bedded right on the edge of the swamp here. But I'm pretty positive it was him. So we'll see. My buddy, he's set up to the east of me, about 200 yards or so on the other side of this thick travel corridor. Just wasn't able to really determine which side of the travel corridor they were using more frequently. That seems like using either side pretty equal. So, with him being on the east side, me being on the west side, hopefully one of us will get a chance. We'll see what happens. It's day 2. I came in this morning, the same spot I was last night. Last night didn't see anything other than that buck that I bumped in here when I came in. When I came in here this morning, it was evident that the bait had been hit. Barrel was knocked over and stuff, so they were in here last night after I had left. But this bait here is really the only bait site that I've got any morning activity on, so that's why I came back in here this morning. When I was getting set up, right at daybreak, I had a doe come in. Some of these acorns there to rob it. So we'll see what happens. The rain will be moving in and out of here in a little while. It was drizzling. It's been drizzling on and off all morning, but it kind of stopped now, so it should be clearing up. Actually, the skies are getting a little brighter, so hopefully with that, gets these bears up on their feet. Get them up on their feet, get them moving, so we'll see what happens. Well, my buddy is about 150, 175 yards on the other side of this swale that feeds the swamp. He just had one come by him, headed towards the bee. He wasn't able to get a shot, but I can hear him hitting the barrel. So hopefully, fingers crossed, when he finishes up there, hopefully he comes back down the same travel corridor going back into the swamp. Maybe one of us will get another opportunity at him. So we'll see. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this morning. I don't know where that bear went to after he left the bait, but he didn't come by me, so I'll back it up and figure out what we're going to do for this afternoon. A couple other bait sites that we haven't hunted yet, so we might wind up hitting one of those. So we'll see. Right, so it's the second afternoon. I'm at a different bait site. So, just a couple miles from where I was this morning. This spot here has been has had a lot of pretty good activity on it also. But it's kind of difficult in here to kind of pinpoint how these bears are traveling and getting to the bait. There's a ton of different trails in here, and they're all worn down about the same. So I slept down in here. The bait is back behind me about 150 yards. I'm right up against the edge of this swamp here. But from this spot here, there's 3 heavy trails that are going in and out of that swamp. And then there's also another real heavy trail that runs parallel to the swamp. So I can cover, this was about the best spot I could get that I could cover multiple trails. The wind is okay. It's not ideal. But we'll see what happens. Well, last day of the season. It's we're set up. I'm set up down here on this knob, kind of overlooking these 2 thickets. It's basically like a drainage that splits around this knob. So I got a creek bottom right here in front of me that's real thick. Another one behind me. There's 2 stone walls that run parallel with that drainage. Up above me, there's It's a big ridge. And then behind me is a cornfield. And then off to my right are two more cornfields. The corn in here was planted pretty late, so it's still pretty green, and so the bears are in here pretty good. Most of pretty much all the other corn was in this area was planted a lot earlier, and it's already either being cut or it's already dry. So this is kind of still the only, really the only green corn around. So there's a lot of bear activity in here. Up on this ridge, when I came in this morning, at dark, I came across the top of the ridge and then dropped down in here, just in case there was anything in here. I didn't want to blow it out. But when I was coming across that ridge, there's a lot of acorns up there. So there's a significant amount of food in here. Off to my left, it gets real thick. There's a pretty big swamp out in that direction, and so I'm kind of set up right in between that swamp and these cornfields, right on this drainage that feeds that swamp. So I'm hoping to catch them traveling either out of that swamp into the corn or out of the corn into the swamp. But I already saw one bear. It was a pretty decent bear, but it was just I don't know. It was moving pretty quick. So I thought I might have been able to get a shot, and it stopped for a quick second, about 60 yards from me. But that's right. I'm not too far off the property line. I kind of stopped right there in front of the property line, so I didn't want to take a shot. I know if I would have shot it, it would have ran onto the private property. So. But I had to cut my hunt early the other night. My buddy shot one, and he was having a rough time finding the blood. So I had to bail out early and go give him a hand. We were able to recover it, so I was pretty stoked for that. That was my buddy's first bear, so that was awesome. That was awesome to be a part of. So I was super stoked for that. We'll settle in and see what the morning brings. All right, well, we're settled in for this evening's hunt. This is going to be the last evening of the season. I came back into that same spot I was this morning. I'm just in a little different location. But where I was sitting this morning is out in front of me about 60, 70 yards. I moved a little closer to the ridge. Pretty much right where I saw that bear this morning come out of. So I got the cornfield. The cornfield's over to my left. And then that ridge is directly to my right. And then I have this stream corridor that runs out in front of me here and goes down into that bigger swamp towards the property line where that bear this morning went. So I'm hoping they come out of that swamp, follow this creek bottom up into this cornfield. I came on this side because the corn on the other side, where I was this morning, that's all pretty dried up, but there was a couple spots in this cornfield here that looked like they had been into pretty recently, where they knocked the stalks over. The stalks were still kind of green, so they haven't dried yet. So it seemed like it was relatively fresh. And then that's the cornfield that the bear this morning came out of. I was kind of debating in between whether to come down here in this bottom by the corn or go up on top of the ridge where those acorns were. But I elected to come down here mainly because there's a really big swamp up on top of that ridge. But today was the first day of duck season, and so I heard some shots coming from that swamp. So I figured, if anything was up, anything that was up in that swamp probably got pushed down the ridge into this lower swamp. So that's why I elected to drop down into the bottom down here. And there are also some acorns on the ground down here as well. So you kind of got corn and acorns right here. So we'll see what happens. That was a real nice bear. It's just a little too far. At one point when he was coming down the ridge, he was kind of coming down on an angle. And he was in range. He actually laid down, eating on some acorns. I had a couple big trees in the way that were blocking him, so I could just see his rear end. And then when he came down, across the rock wall, he got into this thick stuff down in here. He was probably right around 75 yards, just out of range, but I had a pretty solid. I had a solid rest, but I just wanted to take a chance. The second bear I saw, when that one came down, didn't stay very long. Or actually, excuse me, it was the first bear I saw. It didn't stay long in the corn, and then it came back. So we'll see. Maybe it might skirt the edge of the corn. There's a couple holes right along the edge of the cornfield that I can get a shot of it. Definitely midnight. I mean, 3 bears already. The first 2 were pretty small. Well, the first one I didn't really get a good look at. I just saw a quick glimpse of it, and then it kind of caught me off guard, so I didn't even get the camera ready or anything. I tried to get some footage, but the second one was in range. I could have shot the second one, but it was a yearling. It was a small bear. So definitely good activity, though, that's for sure. Still got some time, so we'll see what happens. range. He's only about 8 feet away. I'm surprised that they're all coming from up top with those duck hunters up there. They were blasting away this morning. I figured for sure they would have blew those bears out of there, but I guess they must have just been far enough away that it didn't bother them, because they're all coming from behind me there, up on top of the ridge from the swamp up there. Oh man, if that bear was only a couple of years older. He had a nice little chest blaze on him also. Fortunately, he's just a little too small. He's still got some time left, so hopefully his bigger brother shows up.
Well, that was definitely a great sit. Definitely a great sit, and definitely a great way to end the 2025 bear season. That's for sure. Ended up seeing 6 bears tonight. Definitely saw 4 different bears. I might have seen the same 2 twice. I think I saw that big one a second time, but not 100% sure. And then that yearling was a little chest blaze that came real close to me. I think I saw that a second time. But yeah, that big one that came down, he was just borderline of being in range with the Flintlock. He was right around 70 yards. I mean, I had a real solid rest, so I felt comfortable to take the shot. But once he got into a position where I could get a shot, he was kind of in some vegetation in that, and it was just a little too difficult to pick him up with the iron sights. Just a little difficult to see that, especially that far away. But difficult to see the front bead on the iron, on your iron sights. It's a black bead against a black object, so it can be a little difficult, to ensure that you're shooting in the right spot. So I elected to pass on that, and no regrets, that's for sure. Last thing I want to do is wound an animal, especially when it's avoidable. So so I elected to let that bear go, and then have that yearling. I mean, that thing came in. That thing came in only to about 6 or 8 feet from me there. That was pretty cool. And but yeah, like I say, just a absolutely awesome night. Definitely it was a great season. My buddy, he got his first bear. 2 other buddies, they each got bears. So we went, basically 3 for 4. I was the only one that didn't shoot a bear. Had plenty of opportunities, just not ones that I really wanted to shoot. And had one real good one with the when I had the crossbow, but it was just a little too thick for that, and he ended up winding me. But yeah, so plenty of bears, that's for sure, during the week. Definitely over, I think probably around 15 bears. I think we saw closer to 18 bears, I think, between the 4 of us. So definitely a great week. But I'll probably do a follow-up video or something, like kind of how I go about my setups and that, regarding how I do my bait, because it's it's pretty challenging here where we hunt in New Jersey with the baiting regs. Essentially, you're not allowed to hunt within 100 yards of bait or of a baited area. So you got to get a little creative and kind of look for specific things. This area here where I was hunting tonight, This isn't a spot that I have baited. This was all primarily because of the standing corn, and that's something that you really want to key in on, or something that I key in on. During the summer, kind of take note of what cornfields are getting planted later than others, because when we get into the middle part of October, when our season opens, a lot of the cornfields are already dried up and being cut. And once that corn dries up, essentially the sugars that are in the corn, they turn to starch. So the bears really target those cornfields when they're still in the milk stage, and that's when they have their higher sugar content. It tastes the sweetest to them. Obviously, it's easy to eat because it's still soft, but more so their digestive system at that point can extract the most nutrients out of the corn. And that's really important this time of year, when those bears are really trying to pack on the calories before they go into torpor for the winter. Trying to put on the calories and put on the fat, so they're ready for the denning season. But like I say, excellent week, and I'll probably do a follow-up video on some of the strategies that I do, that I use. Might be able to help somebody out. But thanks for watching, and we'll stay after them.